G'day. In this video, I'd like to make a review that covers my thoughts and opinions on this little mobile game called Overkill 3. Overkill 3 is the third mainline Overkill in the series, and there's a fourth spin-off title called Overkill Mafia. While the first two Overkills were duck gallery type first-person shooters, the third is one of those on-rail third-person shooters where you sit in place shooting at the bad dudes and, depending on the game mode, occasionally move positions from time to time. These games were developed by Cranball Studios and published by Game Troopers. 3 was released on the 26th of February 2015 according to Google. Originally, the Overkill games were released on mobile platforms for Android and the iOS, but 3 was fortunate enough to get a PC release and can be downloaded from the Microsoft Store. That's the version I'll be talking about today. I feel the need to make that distinction because, one, at time of writing, I've noticed that the mobile versions have an added multiplayer component which I can't see on the PC version, so I guess they're not updating that one anymore. And two, it's just so much easier to play with a mouse on a decent sized monitor than on a tiny screen where my giant man thumbs take up half of the available space on said screen. That's just objectively better, let's be honest. So yeah, let's talk about Overkill 3. The gameplay loop is pretty straightforward. Sit in place behind cover, pop out, shoot the bad dudes, earn money and XP to unlock and upgrade weapons and armor, repeat till dead. The game's main currency is cash, while medals are the alternate premium currency. Yes, I know, but they gotta monetize the game somehow. To be fair though, they didn't implement one of those arbitrary energy systems, so you can just keep going and going, which makes the massive grind a little bit easier to deal with. And the ads aren't overkill. In order to progress through the missions, you'll need to unlock them by accumulating stars that can be acquired through meeting specific parameters during a level. These consist of varying objectives, such as using a particular consumable, killing a certain number of enemies, staying in the level for a set period, among other things. As well as the star itself, these objectives usually grant additional money, XP, and sometimes, if you're lucky, even a few medals. As you level up, you'll unlock more weapons to purchase and upgrade. The upgrades affect the usual stats like accuracy, rate of fire, reload speed, damage output, and all that. As well as the weapons, you can also upgrade to better suits of armor that increase total health and armor. As well as weapons, you can also upgrade to better suits of armor that increase total health and armor. It's a slow but necessary process considering the damage output of some of the enemies, which I'll cover in a moment. You can also shoot drones for a brief added benefit during the firefights, which can come in handy. These include increased fire rate, increased accuracy, health, armor and ammo refills, an airstrike, and a daily bonus drone. As well as a nuke drone that can kill just about every enemy on the screen, with some exceptions. Speaking of the enemies, the enemy cast is quite small. There are only about 4 human enemy types, with stronger copies of some with a pellet swap, which is a bit of a cop-out, but I mean it's a mobile game, so you can't really expect much. You got the big bulky dudes and the slightly less bulky dudes that come in 2 flavours, orange and not orange. We've also got some sexy lady snipers, and then there's the pistol guys. Honestly, these guys can go die in a very deep hole somewhere very far away from here for all I care. They are the weakest enemies, but my god, do they make up for that by dealing frankly stupid amounts of damage.
That's a lot of damage!
These fellas can shred through your armor and health like a doggo eats its meals. There are guys with assault rifles, snipers, and goddamn light machine guns, and these turd burgers with their tiny little pistols are the most lethal. And even cover won't save you. Anyway, those are the human ground-based forces. There are also a variety of mechanical enemies that can bugger right off, as well as aerial assault vehicles which will destroy you, and can also bugger right off. The RPG consumables you get are pretty effective against these guys though, so that can make life a little bit easier in that regard. Right, on to the pros and cons of the game. Cover might as well not exist in this game, if I'm being honest. Enemies can still hit you even if you're crouched, dealing a pretty hefty amount of damage, and sometimes you can even fucking die. Snipers can knock you on your ass even if you're in cover.
Crappy piece of shit.
They just don't give a damn. The pistol enemies can die in a very deep hole somewhere very far away from here. The enemy AI seems to break down in endless mode. They might be aiming at you or the generator, but you won't know which they're shooting at, which is expressed quite nicely by the laser pointers emitting from the sniper's rifles. They'll be looking at the generator, but the laser is pointed at you, and then you get shot. This applies to the rest of the cast as well, as you could have a bunch of people all aiming at the generator or all aiming at you, and they will still be damaging the thing that they are not looking at. I mean, look, I'm still taking damage from these cockheads even though they're shooting at the fucking generator. This is bullshit. Don't switch guns when you're about to move to the next location because you will break the game. Just don't do it. Medals. They are basically a barrier to progression for upgrading your weapons and armor. The way they've done the bonuses, or the daily bonuses in this, is just super tedious. The way most mobile games normally do login bonuses is when you boot up the app, a window pops up saying which day you're up to and what you're getting as a reward, right? Not in Overkill. That would be too easy. Here, you have to go into a mission and wait for a special drone to show up and shoot that down. Now, you may be thinking, hey, that's not so bad, that's just an extra step, get over yourself. And I would agree with you if it weren't for the fact that they increase the amount of drones depending on what day you're up to. So day 1 is 1 drone, day 2 is 2 drones, day 3 is 3 drones, etc. until you reach day 7, and you have to shoot down 7 of the bastards. And it's not like you can just stay in the mission and shoot down drones as they show up. You have to either finish the mission or quit and start a fresh mission to get the next drone in the sequence. It's so dumb. At least I think it is anyway. Because accuracy is a stat on guns, it means you can have the center dot right on the bastard's stupid face and miss every shot if the stat isn't high enough. Or if you're lucky, you'll get a few body shots instead and then do less damage. So the turret sections are particularly egregious in this regard. If you haven't upgraded its accuracy enough, you'll miss just about all your shots, the turret will overheat, and then you'll be shot. It seems they had ideas for some more bosses or mini bosses planned for later in the game, because you get these teaser missions as you level up, but I've unlocked all the available levels and only encountered one of the 3 or so bosses that the game reckons it has waiting for me, which is unfortunate because I'd have liked to try taking these big boys down. The game gets very repetitive and very grindy. How repetitive? How grindy? Well, I took some time to do a few calculations. In the mission My Ride Is Here, it takes about 3 minutes to complete if you're quick about it. I played it 10 times in a row to get a total of 54,910 XP, which gave an average of 5,491. That was about half an hour's work. So, a full hour nets me at least 109,820 XP on average. The amount to my next rank is 350,000 XP, which means I'd have to spend roughly 3 straight hours of hardcore grinding on the same mission over and over again for 1 rank. It's fucked, I tell you. Okay, that was a lot of negatives. Let's just calm down and go over some of the nice things that the game does. The guns are nice to look at. You can turn off the little upgrade icons and take screenshots and whatnot. It's just a nice touch. The gunplay is alright when you have a high accuracy rating on set gun. The gameplay is fun in small chunks. The sets of armour look pretty cool as well. The gradual adding on of pieces makes the slog to the last suit worth it, I reckon. The turret sections have this absolutely banging tune. The big one though, being a mobile game, you can do that time and date change skip thing. So if something is going to take a few hours to be delivered, you could wait around, or you could just skip the waiting entirely. Comes in handy if you want to grind out some medals without spending all your life savings in one go.
Which, by the way, takes about 2.5 hours to get 100 medals.
And that's about it, really, for the positives. I'd say, all things considered, give it a go. It is a pretty fun game, despite the mountain of negatives against the small pile of positives, but it still functions. It's just ever so slightly frustrating. It might initially be, or seem to be, a bit pay to win, but there's no energy system, and you can manipulate time to grind for medals and cash, so, you can potentially get everything without paying a cent, which is nice. Are there any mobile games that you enjoy despite all the bad attributes that they may have? Put up a comment and tell me about them. And I will see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day.